perfect example of politicians saying one thing and actually doing the complete opposite. And we see it all the time, but I've got a perfect one here when it comes to Social Security. Politicians playing politics with our Social Security and Medicare, pretending to support Social Security, want you to get your benefits, but then within a few weeks they jump to the other side and basically say, "Hey, um, we're not really interested in taking care of your benefits. We just want to beat up on the other political party." And so I've got a perfect example here. This is obviously a live Q&A as well. So I'm going to talk about this interesting little situation that's happened over the last few weeks. And it looks like I've got a ton of questions here. And I've got one question I said I was going to answer yesterday, but I didn't. So I'll answer that one today. Okay, but let's go ahead and get into this. So I did a video a few weeks ago about a House of Representatives committee, and the committee was to improve customer services. Social Security Administration, awesome. We love that. We love to improve customer service. Social Security, it definitely needs help. Social Security, up until a couple of weeks ago, was at a 50-year low in terms of staffing. Those are the people that are supposed to be there to help you get your benefits and help you navigate the system. And Congress for decades has been slowly dwindling that help. So you can't get your benefits, essentially blocking you from getting your benefits, which is kind of a backdoor cut. And so these politicians said, we need to end that. We need staff in the office to help people. So you've got Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's the one that started this, put this committee together. You've got Clay Higgins there from Louisiana. He came up there with props before he showed up. You probably saw this on the news. He called in the 800 number, 800-772-1213, the Social Security Administration, and said, "Hey, I've been on hold here for an hour, 2 hours, and this is completely unacceptable," which we all agree. And Marjorie Taylor Greene says, "Yeah, my people can't schedule an appointment. What's going on here? They're placed on hold for hours. This is completely unacceptable. There's not enough staff in the office. What are you doing about this?" They were interviewing, harassing, haranguing the previous commissioner of Social Security about the lack of staff in the office and everything like that, even though the commissioner of Social Security can't hire staff until Congress gives him the budget, the resources to hire staff. So it's basically saying, it's like the owner of a company saying, "Hey, how come you're not producing more widgets?" Well, you got to give us the material to produce widgets. So that was kind of an interesting little, turnaround there. And Clay Higgins, with those little props there, these are our elders. They were both kind of clutching their pearls. These are our elders. They want to talk to a human being. They need help. They're confused. They don't know how to navigate the system. You need to put people in the office to help people get their benefits. And what happens? Within a few weeks, they cut back 7,000 people from the Social Security Administration. They, voluntold, as we used to say in the Marine Corps, voluntarily told to leave the premises. So 1 week, you got to put people in the office to help people out. They're struggling. They need their money. This is money they paid into. They earned it. You need to help them get their money. And then within a few weeks, it's, "Oh yeah, let's just go ahead and fire the whole lot of them." So the irony is, the hypocrisy is just miles high. So Social Security definitely needs to be more efficient. If the powers that be now, the Doge is basically in charge of Social Security. There's the acting commissioner of Social Security is a Doge guy. He was Social Security. He was kind of a mid-level manager at Social Security, but he was a big Doge fan, so they elevated him to the top. So he basically said recently that he's giving Doge, basically full access. So Doge is in charge of Social Security now. And, yes, Social Security needs to be more efficient. They need to update their computer systems. Social Security has been asking Congress for decades for resources to update the computer system. And that's fine if they want to do that. Perfect. But the issue is they're doing it all ass backwards. You make the system more efficient, and then if it's more efficient and you don't need that many employees, then you let go of the employees. But you don't let go of the employees before you make the system more efficient, because what's going to happen, however long it takes them to make this system more efficient, have artificial intelligence decide how much your retirement or whether you get disability or survivor benefits. I'm not a big fan of that one either. But they're doing it backwards. So for the next however many months until they do whatever they want to do, making it more efficient, people are going to be losing benefits, and they're going to not get the right check at the right time because there's no one there to help. And it's gotten a lot worse. Okay, so let's go ahead. And so that's my 2 cents for today. And let's go ahead and get into all of your questions. Okay. But before I start, the question I had yesterday, I said I was going to talk about strategic overpayment. The Social Security Administration, the Commissioner of Social Security, the acting commissioner, said they're going back to the old policy of 100% withholding of any type of overpayments, other than SSI, supplemental security income. So if you have overpayment, they're going to stop your check completely, and which was okay up until a few weeks ago, because over the last few months ago, because if your check got stopped, then you would just go into the local office and get it restarted and negotiate the overpayment or whatever the case may be. But now, when they say we're just going to stop your check, and now there's nobody in the office to help, they're closing down offices. What are going to happen to all those people that can't pay their rent and can't pay their electricity? So it's again, there's decisions being made, but they don't understand the repercussions of those decisions to people that are just getting by on a monthly basis. When you've got a few $100 billion, it's no big deal. You can wait for a few months to get another check, but those who don't have a few $100 billion, not so much. All right, so strategic overpayment. A strategic overpayment is what a lot of people do when you're looking at early retirement age. So I recommended this myself to people. When you're under your full retirement age, you're limited to the amount of money you can make, and that's $23,400. So sometimes people are going to be a bit over that, but they're not 100% sure. And so what they do is they say, okay, well, I might be 24,000, I might make $1,000 over, or $2,000, or $4,000, $5,000 over, but I'm not 100% sure. And I won't know until, September, October, November, December. And if I call Social Security and tell them I'm going to be over, I have to sit on the phone for 3 or 4 hours and stuff. And, and then they might not restart my benefits next year. And so I'll just go ahead and let it ride. So that's strategic overpayment, where you say, okay, I'm going to be, let's say, $1,000 over. And when you're under your full retirement age, Social Security holds back $1 for every $2 you go over. So if you're going to be $1,000 over, then Social Security is going to send you a letter next year. Once they get all your, information of how much you made, they're going to say, hey, you said you're going to be 23,400, but you made $1,000 over that, so you owe us $500. You have an overpayment of $500, and people just say, okay, that's all right. I'll deal with that, rather than be on the phone for 3 or 4 hours, rather than calling up and stopping my benefits and restarting it and all this. I'll just let it ride, and when I get that nasty gram in the mail, I'll just go ahead and make arrangements at that time to pay it back, or set up a payment plan or something like that. So that is called a strategic overpayment. Up until several weeks ago, I was an advocate for that. But now, because offices are closing, and even if your local office is technically, the doors are open, as I've talked about several times, is there's different types of people in the office. So the people that might be able to help you with that, maybe those people are all gone. And they're like, wow, we can help you with disability, or we can help you with the welfare-based program, SSI, supplemental security income, but we can't help you with retirement, annual earnings limit, and stuff like that. So your office might be open, but they just can't help you with the issue you actually need, because of all the cuts, because there is no rhyme or reason to who they're letting go. They're just shotgun approach, shoot first, ask questions later type stuff. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get through some questions, and I'll answer questions for another 50 minutes. How likely is a CDR at 62 with a compassionate allowance? Yeah, as I always say on CDRs, continuing disability reviews, those are the reviews that are done for people on disability. Forget about it. when you get the package in the mail, complete it and then forget about it again. It's 100%, you know, driven by the budget. So if Congress gives Social Security a budget of, however much to do 100,000 CDRs, then each office has an allocation. And so, even if your CDR is due this month, you might not get it because the office might not have an allocation. Now, they might not do it because they just don't have the staff to do it anymore. So there's going to be a lot more people that are receiving disability that shouldn't receive disability. And usually those are caught through the continuing disability review process. That's the whole process. And there's actually going to be more fraud, waste, and abuse because of that. So it's like we're going to do this to cut out fraud, waste, and abuse, and by making more of it, I guess. I'm 63, husband turns 62 in June. Should I wait until he files to file, or can I get spousal benefits also? No, you cannot get spousal benefits until he files. The only time you can file on a spouse's record is when they're deceased, and not file on your own. So if you have to file for benefits on your own record, and then when your spouse starts benefits on their record, then you can file for benefits, your current spouse. So no, you have to wait until they file, but you can go ahead and start benefits on your record though. So, if the waste is not cleaned up, how can Social Security remain solvent? Yeah, the waste is, they haven't found any yet. This whole thing about these dead people are 150, 200 years old. You notice they keep still harping on that because that's the only thing they have, but they never say how much these people have actually received. They it's the biggest fraud in history, and they may be in pay. I mean, the acting commissioner of Social Security came out and said, yeah, they're not being paid. It's just an open record. This 300-year-old person supposedly, might have been someone that walked into an office in, 1976 or was born in 1976. And the person using the old typewriter, instead of putting 1976, put 1796. And now the person is 300 years old. So so the person is not in pay. If the person actually comes out and turns 62 and walks into the Social Security office and actually looks to get money, this 300-year-old person actually comes to get money, then the Social Security employer will look at it and says, wow, so how was the American Revolution? A little bit. Okay. A little bit after that. How was the War of 1812? And so they say, yeah, this is completely messed up. We need your original birth certificate to check it and change your date of birth. So yeah, again, no fraud has been found. How to save Social Security? Well, Elon Musk, you want to find waste and abuse? Why don't you pay into Social Security like the rest of us? We have to pay 6.2% on every dollar we make into Social Security FICA tax. He pays probably zero. So you want to find a few $100 billion of fraud, waste, and abuse? There you go. Pretty easy. Found it in 2 seconds. It's a million times more than that'll give you a million times more money than some person 300 years old receiving benefits because they're not receiving benefit. Well, I guess a million times more than zero is still zero. So, okay, that was a bad example. What about Elon claiming on Fox that Medicare and Social Security should be eliminated as entitlement is a big issue? Yeah, he doesn't need it. So, yeah. So, do you have to, Ed, do you have up to 3 months after turning 65 to apply for Medicare without penalty? Yes, you have 3 months. You have a 7-month period, 3 months before the month you turn 65 and 3 months after. Yes. So, and remember, you don't have to sign up for Medicare if you have current insurance through current work. Yours or your spouse's, and that employer has 20 or more employees. If that's the case, you don't even need to sign up for Part A, Part B, Medicare Advantage, Medicare Supplement, any of that stuff. But if you do want to sign up for Medicare, if you're already receiving Social Security benefits, you'll be signed up automatically. Once you hit 65, they'll send you your card and everything. If you're not, then you have to contact Social Security and file. And then you can reach out to my partners at Chapter, and they can walk through all the gaps of original Medicare and see what they can do to help you fill out all those gaps. If you really read this, give me a shout out. Okay. The Real Ray Heel. Hey, what's up? The Real. Hey, this is live. This is 100% live. Nobody's here to screen. It's just me. My son does other stuff, but yeah, this is 100% live, and I don't screen my questions. The questions are not screened at all. So sometimes I regret it. But anyway, if you file early, me at 62 and my ex at 70, would I be penalized the whole time, or will I rate change when I am 67? Okay, so it doesn't matter how old your ex is. If you were married to them 10 years, at least 10 years, and they're at least 62 years old, your benefit amount will be based on their full benefit amount. So whether they started collecting at 62 or 70, it doesn't matter. Your benefit amount is based on how old you are when you file for those benefits. So if you're your full retirement age, you get 100%. But again, with all spouse benefits, living spouse benefits like that, your benefit has to be less than half of theirs. So yeah, but if you file for spouse benefits at 62 and you reduce the full boat, then your benefits will always be that. And well, not always, because you get the COLA increase. And if your ex-spouse works and continues to pay into Social Security, and that's one of the high 35 years, then their benefit will go up, and therefore your benefit will go up. So I've been paying since being a child actress in 1955, age 8. Wow. Has my money been paid out already? I do still receive benefits at age 80. Wow, Mary, you've been working for 72 years. Holy cow. Has my money been paid out? Or you can actually go into your Social Security statement, my SSA, and it'll tell you how much you actually paid into Social Security, all the, you and your employer, all those decades. And then, yeah, you can see whether, you had a pretty good, return on what you paid in. So, let's see. I was on hold for 3 hours before they even started this, but when I got an answer, they were kind and helpful. Oh, okay. Is that Social Security itself? So an office or something? So yeah, yeah, I'm always, even within all this chaos, there's people at Social Security still doing an excellent job, even with, the fear of jaws coming up underneath. They were given this letter. It's like, yeah, you can quit now or take an early retirement, do whatever the hell you want to do, but leave now, or we may do this, that, and the other in the future. So yeah, that's wow. That's all right. What about our VA entitlements? Pray they're safe. I'm a senior citizen. Yeah. They're trying to cut back 80,000 plus jobs from the Veterans Affairs. And then I did a video on that because veterans, not retired that receive TRICARE, but just regular veterans like myself. I just served 8 years in the Marine Corps, which is 20 years in all the other services. But anyway, that just use the Veterans Affairs, VA clinic and stuff like that, because they're cutting back on that staff. Your VA clinic experience might not be as stellar as it has been previously. So checking out a Medicare plan, Medicare Part A, Part B, maybe you never used your, Medicare Advantage or supplement or whatever you got. And now might be the time to double check it before the service at the VA goes south. And again, you can reach Chapter and they can find out what's available in your area, see if they can save you some money, see if they can pay for your Part B premium with a Medicare Advantage Part B give back. I always recommend Medicare supplement plans first. Check those out first. But if it's not for you, then definitely Medicare Advantage. It's a lot better than having nothing at all, just Part A, Part B. There's just so many gaps, unless you got a whole bunch of money sitting around there somewhere. Are monthly Social Security benefit deposit in bank accounts using automated computer process? Is it more a manual process? No. Once your claim is finally processed, which is takes a human being to do it. Yeah. Once it's fully processed, then there's Social Security just sends a file to the Department of Treasury, and that's all automatic. So, but having the system, being put together for the last decades on bubble gum and string, and people that are the people that have been using that bubble gum and string to keep the system up, which they've done a phenomenal job because it doesn't go down as often as airlines and stuff. Now those people are being moved out as well. So it's like, yeah, well, good luck with y'all. So I have had 4 appointments with Social Security only to be hung up on every time after waiting on hold for literally 4 hours. Still don't how yeah. So, y y guess who your new office is of Social Security? Your local politician, your federal politician. So, one of the 2 senators, call them both, the senators, the House rep or the congressperson, whoever represents your district, say, "Hey, here's the deal. I've been had 4 appointments and I was hung up on every time. What's going on?" Social Security only can provide the service that Congress allows them to provide. So it's not, Social Security, they want to hire more people, they want to update their system, but they have no authority to do it. They have no resources to do that. They get all of those allocations from Congress. So if Congress says, "Okay, update your system, bring it into the 19th century," um, you know, put some people on the front windows to help people, then everything is beautiful. But they don't want to do that because obviously they want this to happen. They want it to break so they can come in there in their, white horse and solely save it, aka dole it out to Wall Street. Is Medicaid going to get cut first? It certainly looks like that. They said we're not going to cut Medicaid, but the particular agency, the committee that is in control of Medicaid, we want you to find $880 billion. And the only place to find $880 billion in that particular committee is through Medicaid. So, yeah. And again, ripple effect. People don't understand, these politicians and the Doge guys, the kids don't understand the repercussions of this. Is if you cut back Medicaid, yeah, there is fraud, waste, and abuse. Obviously, go for that. Laser-like focus on fraud, waste, and abuse. But just don't, again, across the board, just, end it all for a lot of people throughout the states. Because if people lose their Medicaid, they might just lose their Medicare as well, because Medicaid pays, if you're at the higher levels of Medicaid, they pay for your Part B premium. So a lot of people are receiving Medicaid, and the state Medicaid is paying for their Part B premium, that $185. It's called the Medicare Savings Program. And if Medicaid ends, they're not only going to lose, prescriptions and, other type of benefits, healthcare and everything, but they said, well, I just don't have the $185 to pay Medicare, so I'm just going to let Medicare lapse too. And then they lose their Medicare Advantage dual eligible plan, which has the other, maybe $100, $200, $300 grocery card, whatever is available. So yeah, it's a trickle down effect, unfortunately. And guess who gets hurt the most? The people who can, withstand it the least. So is it fair to say we are seeing a control government, or is it going one way, not for our benefit? Well, if you are rich, it's going exactly your way. But if not, not so much. Let's see. It's being ran like any other large corporation. Not surprising considering Trump and Musk are controlling everything. Yeah. 600 like. Yes, please write like. What they are doing is the plan of Project 2025 tyranny. Yeah. I got a lot of slack. I did a video a few months ago about 2025 and said, oh, that's not. But yeah, it's going exactly by the playbook, page by page by page. So. Another Social Security manager was on the news and said that they're trying to destroy Social Security so they can make everyone complain and then privatize. Yeah, I've been talking about that that's been the plan since the 1980s. And I put it in my description. If you go into my YouTube channel, go to the description, and it'll have the plan in there written in the 1980s that this is exactly it. This is, you can't go to the American public and say, what's the most popular? They say the most popular, federal thing is Smokey the Bear. You can't go to the American public and say we need to shoot Smokey the Bear in the head. We need to put him out of his misery. People are like, no, we love Smokey the Bear. It's awesome. We like our national parks and stuff like that. So if people love it, they're going to protect it. So what you do is you make people hate it. You destroy customer service. You don't let managers fire, bad employees. All this other kind of stuff. You make the computer system based on, from the 1800s, 1970s. And you just make the system completely terrible, and people hate it more and more and distrust it and, lose confidence in the system. And that's exactly yeah, it's been a decades-long process. This is not only this administration, it's, yeah, it's been going on for a long, long, long time, unfortunately. I might qualify for, and we're falling for it. Yeah, hook, line, and sinker. So the fraud in Social Security is in SSI, Medicaid, many loopholes in the language of may, could. I knew plenty of immigrants who bypassed the 5-year rule and got their elderly parents SSI. Yeah, you can't really do that because you have to go through the system and the MISIX, which is the SSI computer system. You have to put it in there. So yeah. So yeah, it's you can't do that. Is there a lot of fraud in SSI? Yes. Yes. Those are the two programs. There's not, much fraud in retirement benefits or, survivor benefits or, spouse benefits. There is fraud, but not, a whole heck of a lot. And as compared to disability, people that are actually, are able to work and working, and SSI. But a lot of the fraud is not actually fraud. There is fraud in those two programs, SSI and SSDI, the disability type programs. But a lot of it is just people don't understand the complicated system. So if Doge and everything want to come up with a better AI driven app or something like that, so people on SSDI and SSI can get their benefits and stay legit and get their benefits, then that's beautiful. But what I fear will happen is that's going to be the first focus, is getting people on SSDI and SSI, focusing on them and, throwing the baby out with the bathwater, just kind of doing a shotgun approach and just, wiping out, entire segments rather than going after the people that are actually, committing fraud. And then what's interesting is there's, a law of unintended consequences where you make it so difficult for people on disability. The people that are really disabled, they're already, have so many stressors in their life, their disability and their, lack of income and, dealing with the bureaucracy and stuff like that. So those people that really need disability benefits and Medicare and everything because of it, they will just, give up. But the fraudsters, are a lot more industrious. They will, work the system. And so eventually we just might see, more fraud because of it. Yeah. So the people that are planning this stuff just don't, yeah, don't think they can put rockets together, but they don't seem to be seeing all the moving parts. I'm sure if he spent some time and studied it, then he would understand. But given that he keeps harping on this, did people receiving Social Security? I just think he just doesn't want to understand. So I'm 72 years old and getting direct deposit of my Social Security retirement on the 3rd of the month, and rent is due by the 4th of the month. Will I get my Social Security deposit next month? Yeah, yes. I did a video on the Social Security shutdown and stuff, and one of the reasons I did it is because anytime they come up with a shutdown, all the social media YouTubers and TikTokers out there, want to get clicks and clickbait and everything, trying to do, shut down the earth, the sky is falling, and that's my second or third shutdown video. I did it during the last shutdown a few months ago, and I always tell you're still going to get your checks. It's everything is different this time because previously, the last 10 shutdowns or something over the last 10 years, every time there's a shutdown, Social Security has a policy. All the local offices have a policy, and they just pull out the playbook and says, okay, another shutdown. Okay, here's what we do. Here's what we do. Here's what we do. But now there's, because Doge is in charge, we don't know what their playbook is going to be. So that's why I talked about it yesterday. But in your case, if you're currently receiving benefits, you should be good. If you're filing for benefits or if you're about to file for benefits, I talked about it yesterday in terms of delays and what the Social Security offices are not able to provide. So I talked about that yesterday, went into detail, but a lot of fear and anxiety out there. So I try to be somewhat the calm, the voice of calm and reason, but in this time and place, unfortunately, have to report what's happening. Are delayed retirement credits payable to a surviving spouse based on the benefit start date of the deceased spouse or the surviving spouse primary benefit? Okay, so delayed retirement credits, whatever delayed retirement credits you receive, if your spouse is full retirement age, she'll get 100% of that check. So if you're receiving $5,000, which it's Social Security has finally hit the $5,000 mark for monthly benefits, if you paid max for basically 35 years and you waited till your 70th birthday to get those full delayed retirement credits. So it's based on whatever your check is. So if your check is $5,000 and your spouse is full retirement age when you passed, he or she will get $5,000. Let's see. I'm taking my Social Security benefits 3 months before my full retirement age. How much can I make per month? 3 months before your full retirement age. So if it's in that same year, then you can make for this year, it's $62,160 up until, so from January up until the month before you hit your full retirement age. And if you go over the $62,160, then they will hold back $1 for every $2 you go over. I'll be 65 at the end of October. I've been on SSDI for a long time. When do I switch over? Your disability benefits will switch over to regular retirement benefits once you hit your full retirement age. But since you're going to be 65, here's one thing you do need to do. So when you hit your full retirement age, the money you won't even know the switch. Your check stays the same. They just switch you from disability to retirement benefits. But one thing you do need to do in the next few months is check to see whether your Medicare, you should have a Medicare supplement plan, a plan N or a G or an F or something, instead of you probably have a Medicare Advantage plan. Because when you have SSDI in most states, that's all you can get is a Medicare Advantage when you're under 65. So you probably got a Medicare Advantage. Maybe you wanted a Medicare supplement because you don't like the prior authorizations, you don't like the limited networks and all that other, stuff. But at 65, you can get whatever you want. No extra charges, no health underwriting, none of that. So you have like a, get out of Medicare Advantage, jail-free card type thing when you hit 65. So you can reach out to Chapter and they can see what's available. But, again, the Medicare supplement plans, they do have a monthly premium. So they're not for everybody. But if you get sick, you actually might make more, you might save more. So it really depends on your particular situation. But yeah, it doesn't hurt because that might be your only time to switch back to original Medicare and get a Medicare supplement. So it's good to take advantage of it. But if it's not good for you, then it's not good for you. I have a complex question. I became disabled at 56. I have earned 40 credits for working 30 years. The last 10 years, I have rental income only with the excess on before become. Okay, so, all right, I already know where this is going. That's what happens when you do this a million times. He is talking about the DLI, date last insured. So he is insured for disability. He paid into, Social Security for 10 years, 40 credits. He's got all that. But the problem is he is not currently insured, it sounds like, because to get disability, you also have to be currently insured. And that means you had to pay 5 out of the last 10 years. So let's say he worked in his 20s, he worked for 10 years, he's insured, he paid 40 quarters, he's good. And then 20 years later, he files for disability benefits, but for the previous 20 years, he didn't work and lived on rental income and didn't file your taxes as a 1099 and didn't pay into Social Security and possibly, yeah. So yeah, if you don't pay into Social Security 5 out of the last 10 years, then you're not currently insured, unfortunately. So yeah, that's probably, if you file, they'll probably deny you if you're not currently insured. But don't try to calculate that yourself because 5 out of the last 10 years, and you're like, okay, when does that 10 years start? When does it end? It starts 10 years prior to when you became disabled, alleged disability start date. And then the 5 years don't need to be consecutive. So long story short, if you're questioning whether you are currently insured like that, just reach out to Social Security and they can run the calculations. It's very, very easy. The system does it automatically. So it's been a week ago today, and I'm still waiting on a call back after holding for an hour and 20 minutes, then calling every day since. Wow. Yeah. And it's going to get a lot worse. So yeah, Green and Higgins are like clutching their pearls. Oh my gosh, the customer service is terrible. We need to get people in the office to help out our seniors. We really care about our seniors. And then a few weeks later, it's like, psych. Okay. All right. Already answered yours. Let's see. I've called my office and left messages 4 times with the person on the letterhead, and no one ever calls back, and they just suspended my SSI. Yeah. And people in SSI are gonna suffer the most, because once you file for retirement benefits, you're pretty much done with the Social Security, unless you move or, change your direct deposit or something like that, or get some type of, somebody's, fraud or working under your Social Security number. Most time, once you file for retirement, you're good. Um, People on disability benefits, SSI, SSDI, they have more interactions with Social Security. They need, they have to, jump through more hoops because they're on SSI, which is a welfare-based program. So yeah, people on SSI are going to take the brunt of the suffering, unfortunately. Called today and given a 2-hour wait time, wanted a copy of my SSDI initial letter. Now I'm freaked I even called because Doge, 2-hour wait time. Anyway, I hung up. You need advice? Yeah, you just have to keep trying, unfortunately. And most offices, over the last few months, they went to a, kind of an appointment only system because of, Social Security being at a low 50-year low in terms of staffing. So this has been a long time project to, destroy Social Security, and it's finally coming to fruition. So getting on Social Security is a long, arduous process and ain't for whining crybabies who whine like a little baby because they get hung up on. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know about that. What do you think chances are that they just rob what's left of the trust fund? It depends on us. If we let them, if we keep being distracted by 300-year-old people supposedly receiving Social Security benefits, which is all BS. If we keep getting be distracted by stuff like that, then yeah, it might be a good chance. But if we get serious about this and stop falling for all the tricks and distractions, then I think we'll be good. But we need to stop. Politicians have been, the trust fund is all empty anyway. It's all fake IOUs and dead people receiving benefits. And all the money's given to Ukraine. And we have to stop falling for that. How does filing for bankruptcy affect SSI or SS retirement? I'm asking for a concerned friend. Yeah, if you get if you have it doesn't affect anything unless we're talking about if you have like a Social Security overpayment and you include that overpayment in the bankruptcy filing. So if you owe the Social Security Administration money and that is included in your bankruptcy, then you just provide that documentation to the Social Security Administration, and they will clear out that overpayment if you have one. We want to have this problem if everybody went to voted for these, none of them in the job. Okay. Let's see here. Clean CR pays Social Security and Medicare, but Dina won't sign it. Okay. Yeah, but it also, it looks like Medicaid, which is a backdoor cut of Medicare. And it looks like a lot of the rural hospitals are really going to be struggling too. So people that live out in the country. And it's even worse for people that live out in the country because, they might lose their local hospital because of, Medicaid going away. A lot of the hospitals depend on those Medicaid dollars. And, you got those, relatively small Social Security offices. And, you only got 3 or 4 or 5 people. And if they lose 1 or 2 or 3 people in their particular office, then it's people in the country are really going to, in smaller communities, are really going to suffer. Okay, I thought this was supposed to protect people like me in my mid-70s and protect our Medicare and protect us and lower the cost of living. So this is BS. Okay. Let's see. Get some 10 years CSRS offset. First 20 years received Social Security. In my calculation, I got 78%, not 90% of my benefits. How does Social Security know I was CRS? Well, CRS is, the computer system pretty much interfaces with the OPM, Office of Personal Management. So, or you told them when you filed. Well, they ask you. So you're supposed to tell them when you file. But none of that matters anymore because of the Social Security Fairness Act. So all of that goes away. Under much, I didn't believe in that, but anyway. Daughter, disabled adult child, has worked under limit for 10 months. Didn't know we were supposed to call Social Security. Should I call now with everything going on or wait for her CDR on the 18th, birthday in 3 months? No, if she's under her, the trial work period, remember there's two limits. There's the trial work period, which is the $1,160. So if you stay under $1,160, you can work and collect Social Security benefits forever because you're under that trial work period trigger month. If you go over that for 9 months, then you switch into the substantial gainful activity. And if you're in the substantial gainful activity is $1,620. See what I mean about all this being difficult? And there's, extended period of eligibility and, there's all these different things. So yeah, Social Security has been wanting a system to kind of help. So if Doge and everybody wants to, jump in there and help on that, and rather than, talking about dead people, that would be very, very helpful. But no, as long as you're under the 1160, if you go over, then 9 months, then that's fine. But after that, then the maximum hits 1620. And I always recommend don't go right up to the limit. Don't make 1620 or 1619 because that is a tad bit of a red flag. They know that what the limit is and you're working right up to the limit. So maybe you can probably work more. So yeah, make about $100, $200 under it. So that's, basically with anything out there in life. My husband passed away at 75 in 2020. A couple of weeks after I contacted Social Security, I'm 74. They gave me about $200. Yeah, $255 lump sum death benefit to make my Social Security check equal to what it was. Is that right? As a way to? Oh, okay. So so the monthly benefit amount. Yes. Basically, when your spouse passes away, if your benefit amount is lower, if you're, it sounds like you were a full-time age, so you'll receive his benefit amount minus your own. So you won't receive both checks. And that's what a lot of people, I always hated telling people this. Let me put something up here real quick. I always hated telling people this when they came and filed for survivor benefits, is that people think that, okay, you have a husband and wife, and let's say the husband is receiving $2,000 and the wife is receiving $1,000. So a total of $3,000 coming into the house. And then the husband passes away and the surviving spouse thinks, oh, I heard I will get his check. So, and my check. So the total will be $3,000. Before he passed, $3,000 coming to the house. After he passes, still $3,000 because I'll get his check. No, that's unfortunately not how it works. You will get his check minus your own. So one day you're getting $3,000 into the house, and the next day you're only going to get $2,000 because you get his check. His was $2,000, but minus your own. So you continue to get your $1,000 plus you get the $1,000 from him, which equals $2,000. So basically you lose $1,000 a month. So it's unfortunate. And I just got an email today that said someone was saying that they've been waiting on survivor benefits like 4 months. And unfortunately, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. So I just, that's why I found a company. If you're looking for burial insurance, give them a call and they'll give you a quote, see if anything they can help you out with. So they're completely free. So $255 just ain't going to do it. So fake news. Okay. Not sure what fake about it. Let's see. So I have recently applied for SSDI. Is there any leeway from Social Security to work part-time as long as you remain under SGA? Yeah, as long as you're under SGA, you're good. Yep. But keep an eye on it. If you work over a little bit, they can also write it off as what's called an unsuccessful work attempt. So you can check out that as well. So let's see here. My daughter has SSI and they have gotten balances of any account she has. Is this illegal? Yeah, when you have SSI, when you file for SSI, you sign this little thing that says, hey, this is supplemental security income. This is a welfare-based program. You're giving Social Security Administration to check all of the financial LexisNexis and all that different stuff out there to see if, you got a whole bunch of money and stuff. Yeah. And if you don't want to sign it, then you just don't get SSI. So let's see. The people that paid into SSI, SSI is a welfare-based program. People don't pay into SSI. Well, you pay taxes, but you're talking about SSA. SSI is welfare-based supplemental security income. It's different, completely different program. You're talking about SSA, but okay, no problem. The people that paid into Social Security must take it away without restoration to the people who paid into it for 40 years. I don't think they're going to, if they've got any plans, I don't think they'll be that bold to do something like that. What they're doing is they're making it very difficult, if impossible, to get your benefits, the right check at the right time. They're talking about, going after people on disability and SSI, making it difficult for them, or cutting back those programs or reducing the funding for those programs. There was a politician, I did a video on this, and he was talking about if you didn't pay into Social Security, then you shouldn't get Social Security. And the only people that get Social Security that didn't pay into it are spouses and children. So if you're a child and your parent passes away, you get those benefits from your parent. So those children didn't pay into it. If you are a spouse and you never worked because you raised a family, and you can get spouse benefits on the other spouse, but you didn't pay into it. So, and there's a bill in Congress to limit child benefits. Part of the Project 2025 or the Republican National Committee Study Committee, they were talking about means testing spouse benefits. So yeah, all of this is in the works, and I'm keeping an eye on all this. So I know there's a limit of 23,400 collecting benefits. As a real estate agent, can I earn it all in 1 month, then not work the rest of the year? Yep, absolutely. Doesn't matter. You can make it in 1 day. As long as you stay under that 23,400 for the year, then it doesn't matter how long it takes you to earn it. So, all right. Let's see. Okay. I was going to retire this year at 62 August. Should I call and apply already? Will my payments be delayed? I was told I would receive my first payment in September before this mess. No, you should be, file 3 or 4 months before. You can't file now. It's too early right now. So about 3 months before, you can file online or, call and schedule an appointment. Make sure, between now and then, make sure you set up an account, SSA.gov, my Social Security account, check your earnings record, because that's how they're going to determine how much you're going to get, is based on how much you actually paid into the system. So make sure you check that. Which the customer service is going to get 10 times worse going forward. But so you have to be 62 the entire month, number one. So if you weren't born basically on the 1st, then you have to wait until September. So you'll start your benefits in September, and your September check will come in November. But if you file 2 or 3 months before, and because of the staffing, they don't process your claim until 3 or 4 or 5 months, 6 months later, then you will receive that back pay. And again, the people that can, float that few months, no big deal. But it's the people that need that money, in September, that are going to be hurting. So, let's see. My daughter needed it for her daughter. She has autism. She tried for many years to get Medicaid, but they came back with wanting more information. She finally gave up. She couldn't get nothing. Yeah, that's unfortunate. If disabled looks like it's a disabled adult child, or SSI, supplemental security income, which you can get SSI, supplemental security income, for being disabled or aged, 65 and older. So I would definitely, I've done a few videos on, how to navigate the system. So make sure you check that out. And you can definitely, please apply again. Please try it again. I'm retired from a state agency, and they did similar layoff and cut threats, scared people into quitting, then backed off. No layoffs happened, but they accomplished their goals, less service. Yeah. But now On February 28th, I reached out to some of my old coworkers and other people that had Social Security, and they were all basically at retirement parties. There were so many people that left in February that, clean out your desk and be out by, the end of February. And even if they reverse course on this, it's going to take them years they're already 50-year low. So, they're already, scraping the bottom of the barrel. And so they're succeeding in their plan. I worked for CSRS for 5 years, then went to the post office and was put on offset for 10 years and got into Social Security. To get me back into CRS post office PO took away 3 years. Okay, can I get 3 years back? Yeah, it sounds like a CSRS type issue. If you're talking about the WEP, the windfall elimination provision, then yeah, they can only go back to January of 2024 based on the HR 82. Will I still receive my check? I'm not married. I'm 64, woman. My husband died in 94 through my husband. I have depression. No, if you're currently receiving your benefits, everything should continue fine. So, yep. It's the new people filing. It's all the other type of stuff. So as long as something crazy doesn't go with the computer system, then you should be good. So. I was underpaid. My award letter was grossly miscalculated. Social Security told me back in September that they were working on fixing it. I was checking in with Social Security every month. No one answers the phone at Social Security. Yeah, the person that was working with it might be, no longer there. So you just have to keep at it and contact your politician and say, hey, this is it. I've been working on this for months. I need that money. What are you doing to, what are you doing, politician, rather than playing politics with Social Security? Selling my house, moving to a new city, and staying with friends until I repurchase. Is changing mailing address going to be an issue with the way things are going with Social Security? Is P.O. Box that the way to go? Yeah, Social Security internally for that type of thing, you have two addresses: your residence address and your mailing address. So yeah, as long as your mailing address is okay, But if you're just receiving regular retirement benefits or something, they're not going to reach out to you, probably. So you should be good. If you receive an SSI, supplemental security income, then yeah, you definitely want to make sure you're up to date. But probably won't be a big deal. Remember, if you have Medicare, then you're going to have to switch once you get your permanent address, your zip code. If you have a Medicare supplement, if you're in a new town, or if you're in a new state, you'll probably have to change your Medicare supplement or update your Medicare supplement. If you have a Medicare supplement, that means you also have a Part D prescription drug plan, and you definitely need to change that if you move. If you have a Medicare Advantage plan, you definitely have to change that if you move, unless you move like across the street or something like that. So, and again, Chapter can help you out, and they can find out what's available in your new area there. Mysteriously, I was enrolled in Medicare Part B last week. I've been on SSDI since 2010. Never enrolled because I'm a veteran using vet hospital. How does this happen? How to fix this and end results? That's if you've been on SSDI, usually after 2 years, they automatically put you on Medicare. It's strange that they put you on it, 15 years later? But if you don't want it, you just call them up and say, no, I still don't want it. And they'll, get you out of it. But remember, there's going to be cutbacks to the VA, and your VA, you might be happy with it now, but, maybe not in the future. So if you have Part B, and I'm sure you don't want to pay Part B because of $185, but there are ways around that. They're called Medicare Advantage Part B give back plans, and there might be one available in your area. You can reach out to Chapter and see if there is. And, that way you can keep Part B, and that way you can have those other options and maybe get some extra benefits and, kind of have your cake and eat it too. So, do you have to have current medical insurance before you go into Medicare insurance? No. If you're 65, you just go ahead and start Medicare. You can refuse Medicare Part B and Part D if you have current medical insurance from work. It has to be from work. It can't be, the Affordable Care Act, the marketplace insurance. It can't be COBRA. It can't be a retirement plan. So you can refuse it and not be penalized. But it has to be one of those, has to be current work, and your employer has to have 20 or more employees. You or your spouse. I will be 65 in December. Should I wait until 67, or will they automatically just convert me? I assume you're probably on disability benefits. Yeah, they will automatically convert you at your full retirement age. So again, you're 65, just check your Medicare and see if you want to switch to anything different. Thanks for incredible info. Do they get money to 18-year-olds? They're young and I'm old, so maybe 5 years worth before they're 18. We've had benefits for 3 years. Now I am approach 65. Yes, if a parent is receiving retirement benefits or disability benefits, or if a parent is deceased, then yes, children can get benefits if the children are under 18 years old or still in high school, or became disabled before the age of 22. So let's see. This is really sad. Many people have multiple doctors, many health diagnoses. Yeah, if you're talking about disability, when you file for disability benefits, you tell them all the doctors you've seen and when you saw them and what type of disabilities you saw them for. If you're talking about, a Medicare Advantage plan, because Medicare Supplements doesn't care about your doctors. You can use any doctor that takes Medicare. But if you have a Medicare Advantage plan, then yeah, you have to pick it based on keeping as many of those doctors as you can. So my understanding is they are going to privatize it and will depend on the stock market and what we get. So they said we may have months with no money. Yeah, I hope that's been the plan for a few decades. Well, that's been the plan since 1935. There's been one party that says, yeah, it should always be, in the stock market and stuff. And some people out there, yeah, I agree. But consider what's happened with the stock market. And I was actually taking claims at the Social Security Administration in 2007 and 2008. And I can't tell you how many people, I said, okay, here's your benefit amount. You're going to receive, $2,800 a month. And they're like, oh, okay, that's good. But that's all I'm going to live on because I just had a 401k and the whole thing was wiped out during the once in a lifetime stock market crash, which seems to happen every 10 or 20 years. So they used to call it, oh, it's a once in a lifetime. Oh, until a few years later when it happens again. So my father's wife just passed away and he was told he gets the $255 and doesn't get to collect her Social Security so he can apply special benefits. So probably, he probably just gets the lump sum death payment, the $255. And probably why he doesn't receive any of hers is because his benefit amount is higher. So it goes to the higher benefit. So if the other person is lower, then yeah, unfortunately they don't get it. They want the Medicare to collapse hospitals and it forces the people to sell and move into the cities. Yeah. How come there are no premiums for Medicaid, but seniors have a premium for Medicare? Yeah, Medicaid is a welfare-based program. So it's always been a welfare-based program. But there are cost-sharing Medicaid. There's several different levels of Medicaid, and it really depends on your particular state. But yeah, some, the higher levels, the QMB, the QI, and the SlimB and stuff. Yeah, those, all the bells and whistles, I guess. But the lower levels, sometimes they do have to pay, for cost sharing. So. All right, we are getting close to an hour here, and let's see. Just click through here and see what I find. I'm sorry if I skipped your questions, but I'm just click through whatever pops up. I'm legally blind and have been drawing disability for almost 20 years off of my dad, I believe. Should I be doing anything with all of this mess going on? No. It sounds like you are receiving disability, your disabled adult child benefits off of your father's record. So if he is alive, you're receiving 50% of his full benefit amount. If he is deceased, a surviving child gets 75%. No, you're receiving disability. You'll receive, the continuing disability reviews. Maybe depends on your particular situation. No, just keep on keeping on. And if you move or anything like that, just notify Social Security. But no, you should be good unless anything strange happens. And I'm gonna keep an eye on all the strange stuff. I received $3,500 just dumped in my checking, no notice, no explanation. When will I get explanation? I don't. How many months included? Pat in Mine Run, Virginia. Were you part of that Social Security Fairness Act? You got the windfall elimination or the GPO, and they've adjudicated your claim, and you got the extra. That might be it. But yeah, this happens quite often. Is when the Social Security employee that's working on your case finishes all the calculations and pushes the button, then if you've got direct deposit, then the money goes, the next day, super, super quick. And then the computer system sends out a letter, but the letter goes through snail mail. So people get the money and they don't get the explanation until a week later. Yeah, it happens quite often. So probably that's what's going to happen. Or they're going to the electronic thing where you can go into mysocialsecurity.gov and the letter might be in there. So yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ed. So just to be clear, they don't ding you for not calling in to report any kind of income if you are on SSDI DAC. If you're under your full retirement age, or excuse me, if you're under, the trial work periods, if you're still using those 9 months, if you're under the SGA, you're good. If you want to call them up or do a work act or do a work report, you can do it online, or you can send in your wages and stuff if you want. But yeah, if you're under that amount, then you're good. So, Ed, what do you mean if we let them get away with it, and how do we stop them? What are the steps we need to perform? Just asking. Yeah, we stay active. Participatory democracy. You reach out to them and say, hey, yeah, we got your number. We know what you're doing. You're trying to destroy customer service. You're trying to lose destroy our faith and confidence in the Social Security system. It's never missed a check in 90 years. And we know what you're trying to do with all these distraction about 300-year-old people and all this other, the Social Security Trust Fund is stolen and all this other garbage. We've got your number, and we want you to protect Social Security. We want help. We paid for that help. When you paid your FICA taxes all those decades, part of that money, a very, very small percentage of that money, was supposed to go to help you when you needed help navigating the bureaucracy and making sure you're getting everything you earned. But they were refusing to fulfill their promise. So reach out to them and say, hey, here's the deal. And reach out to all your friends and share this video and and all that kind of good stuff. So, and I will continue to be here and keep an eye on them and answer as many questions as I humanly possibly can in an hour every day. All right, y'all take care, and because it is that time, and have a beautiful day. And please, please, please take care of each other.